Have you ever waited so long for something you wondered if it would ever come true? Imagine waiting decades for the fulfillment of a promise, especially one that seemed impossible. The birth of Isaac in Genesis 21 is exactly this kind of story. It's about faith tested by time, hope fulfilled beyond all expectations, and the remarkable faithfulness of God. The journey toward Isaac's birth began many years earlier. God had promised Abraham that he would become a great nation. But there was one major problem. His wife Sarah was barren. Year after year, they waited for the child God promised. Abraham and Sarah grew older. 70, 80, 90 years passed. Their hope seemed impossible, but Abraham believed God's promise, even if the path to fulfillment was unclear. Yet their patience was tested severely. Sarah, frustrated and desperate, once suggested Abraham have a child with her servant Hagar. That son, Ishmael, brought conflict and heartache instead of peace. The waiting continued, and with each passing year, the promise seemed increasingly impossible. One day, 3 divine visitors assured Abraham that the time had finally come. In exactly 1 year, Sarah would have a son. Sarah, nearly 90 years old, laughed in disbelief. But God gently rebuked her doubt, asking, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Finally, the day arrived. Genesis 21 beautifully states, "Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as he had said. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age." The promise, seemingly impossible for decades, came true at the perfect moment. Abraham, 100 years old, and Sarah, 90, held their miracle, a healthy baby boy named Isaac, meaning laughter. Sarah declared joyfully, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." Soon after Isaac's birth, tension rose again. Ishmael, Abraham's son with Hagar, mocked Isaac. Sarah felt deeply troubled, knowing there could be conflict over inheritance. Reluctantly, Abraham obeyed God's guidance to send Hagar and Ishmael away, trusting God's promise for Ishmael's future. Isaac's birth wasn't merely a miraculous family event, it was a turning point in history. Isaac represented fulfillment of God's covenant promise, the beginning of Israel, and the lineage of Jesus Christ, who would bless all nations. Isaac's birth holds powerful lessons for us today. God keeps his promises, waiting is part of faith, God works through imperfect people, and his blessings often come through trials. Ultimately, Isaac points directly toward Jesus Christ, both miracle children fulfilling God's eternal promises. Just as Abraham and Sarah trusted God's promise about Isaac, we are invited to trust God's promise of salvation in Christ. May Isaac's story inspire laughter, hope, and renewed trust in the God who keeps every promise. If this message spoke to your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more faith-filled Bible stories. See you in the next video.